Welcome to the Advertising Forum. This is episode 4 of our SMB series, sponsored by Vibe. Go to vibe.co to learn more.
Today, we're joined by Frank, Vibe CTO and co-founder, and Arthur, the CEO and co-founder. Frank and Arthur, thanks for being here with us today.
And thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I'd love to hear the story behind Vibe and what sparked the interest in creating this platform overall and addressing the SMB market.
Absolutely. I would say there's two main components as to why we created Vibe. There's the first one that is very personal. I've been advertising my whole life. I spent a lot of money on Facebook ads, Google ads. And one of the last frontier that was never reachable was basically TV. And it's the coolest advertising medium. And it was always in the back of my head, I want to be able to advertise on TV without getting a marketing job at a very large company, basically. And so that's one of the reasons as to why. And the other one, of course, comes down to the opportunity. But we believe with Frank that CTV can be as massive as search and social. It has all the ingredients are there. It has the reach, it has the impact, it has the targetability, it has the measurability. So everything is kind of there. And now it's really about cooking the recipe. And that's basically our job. It's making it as performing than search and social, and making it as big as that.
Arthur, one of the advantages, and all of the guests have spoken about search and social and Vibe. And the advantages of using those search and social platforms are, real-time A/B testing capabilities, the simplicity of a UI. How do you keep your platform user-friendly, but then still have it packed with so many features that SMBs need?
Get it as the CTO.
Yeah, that's a good question. So back in 23, when we started, it was all about the ease of use. All the teams were thinking about how do we make it possible so that in 5 minutes from the visit on vibe.co, you know what we're doing, you register yourself, there is no sales walls, no one to talk to, you can do it yourself. And 5 minutes from now, you have your campaign set up, ready on TV. Even my mom should be able to do that. So that was the first thing. Then it was about make it work, make it possible to have outcome not only for big enterprise customers who have a lot of data, but for any business, the smallest one. So it has to work for basically anyone. One thing that is also very important to understand is that we are building something simple by opposition to what exists out there. So we don't see ourselves as a DSP. Instead, we see ourselves as an ad platform. A DSP requires certifications, media buyers, traders to run your campaign. Ad platform is literally what you are doing as a buyer, business owner on other social networks, social ad platform. To be able to do that, to remove the vast tag integration, third-party audiences, you're just overwhelmed by everything that's possible. We decided to do less, but to do it ourselves, in-house. We have to understand everything in the chain, from the supply, what does that field mean in the bid request? Is it the same for every publisher that we are working with? So we have to understand every single aspect of the bid. And once we do that, we can innovate. We can bring new features that you were thinking it's not possible, like live sport for an SMB. Create a new creative in 30 seconds for any business out there. And that's because we control all the value and the chain.
Frank, you mentioned simplicity of use for your clients and having it feature packed. What are some of those roadblocks that you've seen some of the SMBs facing when they adopt or adapt to new technology and platforms that they use?
On that, there are three, I would say, main blockers that we see from smaller brands. One is the general idea that TV is extremely expensive. That's still like something that most people think how it is. So there's a lot of like reassurance and education around that. Like, no, you don't need to spend millions. You can start at $50 a day. The other one, as Frank mentioned, is like the creative. But I don't have like a Hollywood produced like creative or anything like that. You can actually like repurpose a lot of assets. There are like tons of tools right now, whether like Gen AI, but also not Gen AI. You can create a video with Canva like very, very quickly. You can repurpose your vertical video. What works on social can work really well on TV as well. And the other one, which is a big challenge for the whole industry, would be measurement. Because our clients, at the end of the day, they put $1 in the machine, they want 3 out. Like that's really as simple as that. But in a click-through world, it's tough to be it's tough to do advertising on TV. So it's a lot of it comes down to like making sure that we are measuring outcomes the right way, but also getting them understood by our clients. So it's a big part of the work that we do at Vibe. It's not solely like delivering outcome, but it's also like communicating it to the clients.
So Arthur, that leads us to our next question, just being able to measure impact within itself. Which success metrics specifically indicate that Vibe is truly making a difference for your customers? So when you're working with all of these amazing SMB customers, we've gotten to know each other. You're working with so many great companies all across the spectrum globally. When you're talking with the stakeholders, when you're talking to the principals, the business owners, when at the end of the day, can you share just like the milestones that you're able to provide to them and what analysis or features that your platform is helping them elevate their business?
Welcome to the hard world of SMBs where nobody is the same. So there is no like market standard or anything like that. So it depends a lot on like the maturity, I would say, of the clients. But maybe Frank can give a bit of color on that.
Yeah, it's a tough question. Like as you said, like Arthur, they are all different. So it's hard to say. My best answer, it has to work. Like and that's the tough question we have to provide within the product. So to me, what's very different. Maybe it's not your original question, but to me, what's very difficult for addressing this market is how do you make it work for everyone? How do you it's a 30 million business out there. So how do you make the difference for all of them? And it's a product approach. It's a marketing approach. It's definitely not a sales a sales approach. So you have to create your product. That's why we started with an ad platform, and you have to think about the experience, the UX that will make it clear for an advertiser what we can offer to them. If it's a sales campaign, is it an awareness? Is it to drive new users to their websites or their shop? How do we present that to them? So that's the kind of promise that we make to them. Has to work for, again, 30 million businesses. Then it's about delivering the promise. How do you make it sure that you have the correct amount of data of supply, like the good options from the best suppliers to drive this? And lastly, how do you demonstrate your performance? Like, how does the advertiser at the end of the day acknowledge that you've done a great job? So it's not only about your UX anymore. It's not about your reporting. It's also about what they are using. What tool are they using? Is it Google Analytics? Is it Vibe? Is it Triple Whale? We have to understand that and make sure that what we think we're delivering is also what they are seeing. So it's like a tough question to answer just for one customer, and we have to do it to 30 million. So there's no single answer to your question, but like it's a massive challenge.
Well, and you guys both know this, and our audience knows this too. TV is really complex. CTV is complex. Performance TV is very complex. So, Franck, that was a really eloquent way to explain a very loaded question that I gave you to begin with. You broke it down and fragmented it into a really nice way so our audience could could understand it. So thank you. And Arthur, thank you for helping serve it up on a nice platter as well. Can you share how your team's culture and approach to innovation helps keep SMBs front and center? Just because you guys are young, great energy, great vibes.
Yeah. Actually, Vibe is called Vibe because when we started, we're like developing like the first like screens and everything. And one of our main focus was let's not make it as boring as like traditional DSPs, and it has to has a vibe. So that's really the reason why it's called Vibe, because I was like saying that over and over and over again. And at the end, we're like, we should call it Vibe. You know what? We should call it Vibe. So that's the reason. But to go down to your point, I think we're a very focused team that likes to move fast, and that's really like the core of our value. What we always say is fast and furious, and it's really that. Like working at Vibe is definitely not for, I would say, everyone, because it's like very like fast paced, but it's a lot of fun. But we also like thrive in chaos, which is another value that we have. But that's what makes it non-boring and a lot of fun.
I would say there's another thing that works for both of us. We are serial entrepreneur and we like innovation, change the status quo, and we hate ad tech as much as we love it, and we really want to change it like deeply. And that works also for SMBs. We want to provide the best. We want innovation that works.
Franck, that last line spoke to me. We hate ad tech as much as we love it too. I assure you. When it comes to just your future vision, where do you see Vibe in the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? And how do you plan to continue to just evolve your offerings just as the SMB market continues to grow and the performance TV market continues to grow?
One of our core like target is reaching like $1 billion in ad spend a year as fast as possible, because that will also be like a demonstration of what the market can be. And if we get there, that means that the product has found like massive traction and also performance. Let's not forget that we work for publishers as well. We're their source or their sales powerhouse for the SMB market. So being the biggest source of incremental revenue for publishers is also very, very important for us. And the last thing is really having cracked performance. Like no one has cracked it on TV yet. Like absolutely not. And it's kind of the equivalent of AGI for LLMs, you know. So it's $1 trillion reward. So we'll crack it.
Franck, Arthur, thank you so much for being here today. And thank you again for sponsoring this series. We're really looking forward to releasing this episode and looking forward to speaking to you guys soon.